It is great to have with us at halftime Dr. Joe Whitmore, the president of Snead State Community College. Dr. Whitmore, how are you?
We're doing great. Glad to be with you today.
Hey, let me say thank you very much for taking time out of a busy schedule. And two, we had a little technical issue. As you can tell, I'm not recording this in the gymnasium, so I'm assuming there was a problem on my end, but you've been patient. I appreciate that.
No problem. Again, glad to take part and glad to have a few minutes to talk with you today.
Let's talk about how you became president at Snead State. I mean, give us some bio on Joe Whitmore, what neck of the woods you're from, and what got you eventually to Boaz.
Well, I was actually born and raised in Oxford, Alabama, not too far from here, about an hour south down in Calhoun County, and actually began my career in banking. My degree is actually in finance and real estate. So I was in commercial banking for about 12 years, and I had the opportunity to go back to my alma mater at Jacksonville State University and work in their finance and administration budget office. I held several posts while I was at JSU and really thought I would retire from there, and ended up having an opportunity to come to Boaz and interview here for a position as chief financial officer at Snead. That was in 2016. And it was one of those things that I felt God opened the door for me to be here, and it just felt like the right place to be. And I was served as the chief financial officer from 2016 through 2020. And in the middle of our COVID year that everyone remembers so well, the chancellor gave me the opportunity to step into the role of president upon the retirement of our previous president. So I've been in the president's role since 2020 and have really loved it. It's been great. We have a wonderful campus here, wonderful people, wonderful community, and couldn't be happier.
So is it safe to say that when you were in banking, you had no idea that one day you'd be the president of a community college?
None whatsoever. Never even had the thought that I would be working in the field of education. But again, God had those plans for my life, and I was glad to follow through with them.
The one thing I hear specifically about Joe Whitmore is that you love athletics. I've even heard rumor that you've taken a few cuts in the batting cage. So which came first? I know there's a tie between athletics and academics from the standpoint of drawing an athlete to a school, but did you have an already there and embedded love of athletics before the academics?
Well, I've never been a great athlete, but I've always loved athletics. I've always loved being a part of it and participating when I can. Actually played in a 55 and older softball league this past year. I had a lot of fun with that, just try to stay active. But I believe real strongly in the college experience needs to include everything. Whether you are a student athlete or just a student, part of that experience of being in college are the things that happen on campus, being involved in clubs, being involved in extracurricular activities, and athletics is a big part of that. So I am very strongly involved in our athletic program. I like to get to know all of our student athletes and all of our sports. I like to go to their practices and not just batting practice, but have some shoot arounds with the basketball team. I like playing rounds of golf with our golf team, and I get a little nervous getting in the batter's box of softball. Those girls, I mean, they're standing just right there, and that's a little bit intimidating, but it's very important to me to get to know all of our students, but especially our student athletes, because of what they commit to be good. What they commit to, that our students that are coming here and just going to class and you know, maybe that's all they have time for or what they do, but the additional requirements that are on our student athletes and the time and the love that they have for the sport that they're doing, I just feel it's our responsibility to do all that we can to help them be successful on the field. More importantly, to stress the importance of academics, help them be successful on the field. And I think all of that plays together in making our institution unique in how we approach our student athletes.
You know, our presidents have different philosophies, and I'm not saying one is right and the other is wrong, but some are more athletically involved and see the significance of athletics to a school. Others don't. But where you are concerned, what role do you see it playing beyond just the athletics, but the athletic program and what it contributes to the school and the community as a whole?
Well, let me start with what it does to our community, and then I want to move to what it does for our student athletes, if I could split that answer into two parts. being in a small community in Boaz, Alabama, we like to offer not just our athletic programs, but our fine arts programs. We want to be the cultural hub of our community. We want to reach out and be partners with our communities, with our local high schools and middle schools. And there's nothing I like better is to have occasions on our campus, have activities on our campus that we can invite people to, that we can have them on campus. One of the changes that we made this year that after a lot of thought and discussion, we stopped charging admission to all of our athletic programs. We want our community to come out and not have to worry about how much it's going to cost to bring the whole family. We put a little bit more efforts in our concessions to drive them up to a little bit higher quality so that people can come here and enjoy themselves, because I feel that the more people are on our campus, we can engage with them, we can let them see what we have to offer, and we can be that beacon in our community of just drawing people in. As you know, junior college athletics are the real deal. We have some fantastic schools in our association and our conference here in the state of Alabama, and these kids need to be seen. We need to do everything we can to get people in the seats and to get people engaged in our community and get them rallying around our team. And just the dividends that pays is we've had the opportunity in the last couple of years to compete on the national stage in baseball and in basketball. And when we went to the community and said, hey, we're getting ready to send our kids to the basketball championships in Hutchinson, Kansas, or to Grand Junction for baseball, and we don't build that in our budgets at the beginning of the year. So we go to the community and say, hey, can you help us out? And it is amazing. And just last year when our basketball team went to Hutchinson, Kansas, in 4 days, our local community raised over $20,000 to help these kids be able to take this trip and it not just be, let's go play and come home, but to get them experience the trip, experience the travel, experience the opportunity of being able to compete on a national stage and how important that is for them in the long run. So those community partnerships, those community engagement things, when you go and ask them to help, they're willing to help because they've been on our campus, they've been to our games, they get to know our kids. And I think that's very important. The other part of that is looking at it from the student aspect. Why is athletics important for our students? And there's a lot of reasons for that, but the main one to me is collegiality and teamwork. When these kids put down the bat for the last time, hang up their basketball jerseys, and they're in the world, they're raising their families, they're getting the job in whatever their profession is going to be, they're going to have to understand what teamwork is about, how to work with that person that sits at the desk across from you, is in the office next door to you, or that's on the floor of the company that you're working for. Building those relationships with a team, building those relationships through athletics, understanding the relationships between coaches and players and co-players. I think that's really critical that we instill that into our student athletes so that they are prepared when they get to whatever profession they're headed for. Just having the skill to do that job is important, but it's the things that surround that skill, getting along with people, conflict resolution, critical thinking, all the things that athletics builds up in the people, in our students. I think it's important that we give them every opportunity to do that, because as I said, a lot of these kids are going to get to play at the next level, but there's coming a day when we all have to put the games we love aside and move on into the world. And I think that's where we build the character in these students. We build the opportunities for relationships in these students, and we just put that foundation in place that helps them be successful, not just academically, but in all parts of what they are, what they're becoming.
You did not enjoy success in the financial world, and now as president of Snead State, without being a goal setter, having those goals that you would like to achieve and attain, having plans in place. So where do you see Snead State in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? What would you like to see that might not be in place in 2024 that you might like in place in 2030?
The most important thing to me is that we are an institution that's changing lives. If we can change one life per day, everyone on this campus can do that and make a difference in our students' life, whether they're an athlete or not. That's what our goal is. our enrollment has seen tremendous growth since the COVID years. We were up 30% last year. We're one of the fastest growing schools in the community college system, Alabama community college system, based on headcount enrollment. We went up about 30% last year. We're up over 10%. We're in double-digit growth this year. We're getting more into the high schools. Dual enrollment is a big part of our growth, and getting to these students as early as possible and helping them to develop their paths. I'm the perfect example of when I got out of college, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and I did. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the foundation that I built when I was in finance and in banking. But it's okay if students don't know what they want to do in the 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade, but it's incumbent upon us to be able to touch those students and reach out and connect with them in ways so that we can show them different paths and we can show them different opportunities and let them know what their options could be. So what I hope we can do in the next few years is just continue to be able to have impact on young people's lives and adult lives. You know, part of what we do in our especially in our career tech education is adult learners, people that are in the workforce that need an additional skill to get a promotion, to have an opportunity to better themselves. Because when we help one person and that student can go home and have an impact on their family and start adding to the value of their family by what they're doing, that family becomes better. When the families in our communities get better, they are creating a better quality of life for everyone else. They're contributing to the tax base. That allows the communities to grow. It allows the communities to create things that draw people in, and it allows our areas to grow, and that just gives us more opportunities to make impacts on lives and to impact the students that are around us. So if we start small, if we just set that goal every day, hey, who can I help today? How can I make an impact on a person today? How can I help this person's life be better today? If each one of us does that every day, then it helps us all in the long run. And that's what I want us to continue doing, to continue growing, and for Snead to be that cultural center of our community, to be that educational center of our community that people look to and say, hey, these folks are making a difference.
Dr. Joe Whitmore, here's one of those instances where I wish halftime was 30 minutes, not just 15, because we could talk on and on. Hey, thank you so much for being our guest. And I'm looking forward to doing this again. Plus, you know, I'm going to be there for some basketball, some baseball before the year is out. We got to see you shoot some hoops and take some BP. We'll
do that for you. And again, thank you for what you do for our athletic conference. Thank you at JockJive and to be able to send this out over the internet and over the communications so that parents who are not able to come to all the games can see and participate, and those that are just want to see what this is all about can do. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for the opportunities you give others to keep up with our athletic programs.
Thank you. And thank you for being our guest at halftime.
Yes, sir.